Today's battlefield reports focus on three critical fronts: Pokrovsk, Kupyansk, and Sever, areas where Russian forces have intensified their pressure and made noticeable advances. But despite a flood of Russian claims about major victories, the real situation remains far more complex. Over the past few days, several Russian mill bloggers have declared that Pokrovsk has fallen entirely, calling it a victory and claiming that Ukrainian units inside the city are fully encircled. These statements followed President Putin's remark 4 days ago that 70% of Pokrovsk has been liberated, a number Russian sources now push to 100%. However, footage from the city tells a more mixed story. The front remains extremely foggy, both literally and in terms of information. Visual updates from both sides have been inconsistent, and the situation on the ground appears largely unchanged compared to earlier this week. Ukrainian units still claim to hold positions in the city center, and localized battles continue around the railway station and northern neighborhoods. Russian advances inside Pokrovsk are reportedly driven by infiltration tactics. Small groups of 2 to 5 soldiers entering basements and fortified buildings, gradually absorbing parts of the city rather than launching large-scale assaults. This allows Russian units to quietly spread inside urban blocks, but it also means control remains fragmented. Some areas listed as Russian-held on one map still show active Ukrainian operations on another. Meanwhile, the unusually heavy fog has significantly reduced drone visibility. Recon drones must fly extremely low, giving infantry more freedom to move through streets and damaged structures without immediate detection. On the Ukrainian side, the 25th Air Assault Brigade reports continuous search and strike operations inside the central districts, claiming they have eliminated Russian groups near the railway station and prevented Russian consolidation in the north, threatening the logistics chain between Pokrovsk and Mirnokhrad, Kupyansk front. Further north, the situation around Kupyansk and Kislivka has also escalated. Russia's Ministry of Defense announced the complete liberation of Kislivka, sharing videos of troops moving inside urban areas east of the Oskil River. Russian reporters are portraying this as a decisive success, with some even claiming that large Ukrainian battalions were encircled, though no evidence supports these numbers. In reality, Ukrainian defenders say the battle inside Kupyansk is fluid and chaotic. Up to 24 positions have changed hands multiple times within days. Ukrainian assault groups continue to strike Russian infiltration teams.
А?
Ветка.
Похуй уже.
Давай просуваться потом. Пидор дохлый. Контроль. Все, есть. Контроль! Пидор! Нора вроде бы. Да, мінус один. Де труба? Я підходжу. Брат, гранату кидати буду.
Давай.
Дай. Єбай. Уу! Єбай. Проходь трошки. Надо подняться, брат. Подняться ще.
Сигнатуру бачу наче.
То підари стріляли. Гарми цю кнопку. Лягай, лягай. Водкова? Та що
Да,
мене
єсть,
було
єсть,
видно
єсть.
з цим дебілом?
Воно трапився. Воно калаху бачить. Нора.
Still, Russian forces have pushed closer to key crossroads and river crossings, which could force Ukrainian troops to gradually withdraw toward the western bank of the Oskil River to avoid encirclement. Sever front, one of the most surprising development comes from Sever, an area that has seen little major action until now. Within roughly 2 weeks, Russian troops reportedly broke through a fortified defensive line and entered the city from the south. Russian sources claim Sever is almost fully under their control. Ukrainian commanders acknowledge that Russian infiltration teams have slipped into residential blocks and industrial areas. Roads leading into Sever are either cut off or under Russian drone fire control. The situation for Ukrainian units inside the city is described as increasingly difficult, though defenders are still fighting building by building. This mirrors the pattern seen in Pokrovsk, Russia using small, mobile infantry groups rather than large armored assaults, taking advantage of gaps left by Ukraine's limited manpower and reliance on drones. Overall assessment across all three sectors, Pokrovsk, Kupyansk, and Sever, the trend is similar. Russia is advancing slowly but steadily using infiltration tactics, fog cover, and sheer manpower. Ukraine is struggling to hold a very long front line with fewer infantry, relying heavily on drones that are less effective in current weather conditions. Urban combat remains fragmented. Russian claims of full control rarely match the mixed reality on the ground. Major winter weather may soon limit both sides' ability to advance, potentially freezing the current lines. For now, all eyes are on whether Russia can consolidate its gains before weather conditions and Ukrainian counter-assault units disrupt their momentum.